Pailis implies an elaborate timber hall befitting a king, but used by lords, probably for feasting or perhaps as a hunting lodge. They're invariably found in boundary areas of Gaelic territories. Arguably, the Pailis, which is projected as an elaborate dwelling befitting a king, can be included in material expressions of what I would term status anxiety among Gaelic elites during the 14th and 15th centuries, when their positions as kings were being steadily eroded to that of lords. Gaelic elites like the MacMurrough used material culture to publicly advertise themselves as the descendants of kings, and in order to try to gain the over-kingship of Leinster, for instance. This kind of activity is, of course, uncritically referred to as Gaelic Revival. I think it's more status anxiety. But this is very evident in the remodelling of the Cavanagh Charter horn, which you see down here at the bottom right, a ceremonial drinking horn, and in the production of the Shrine of the Book of Mulling, with its donor inscription, magnified beneath a crystal setting at the centre of the front face of the shrine, and it communicates the renewed claims of Art MacMurrough Cuevana to the Kingdom of Leinster in 1402. Note that he refers to himself as a king and a lord, so you can see this sort of ambiguity in this transition period. An analysis of the distribution of the Gaelic place name Pailis in the Irish landscape shows that of the 29 Pailis locations identified, 13 can be positively classified as moated sites disposed to boundary areas. The presence of the Gaelic Pailis in boundary zones strongly indicates that they may have been used as high-status markers in the configuration or reaffirmation of Gaelic territorial boundaries during the retreat of the colony and the consolidation of lordship boundaries over the course of the 14th century. There are lots of cases of service families, especially learned families, living on Pailis-named landholdings in the late medieval period. And I think it can be concluded that service families like the McKeoghs and the O'Dailys at Palace Lower in Wexford perhaps reused lordly Pailis of the 14th century after they were vacated by their lords in favour of tower houses by about 1400 AD. The larger of the two moated sites at Palace Lower could have had its genesis in the 14th century as a Pailis used by the Chinnsealaigh for hunting and feasting in the northern boundary zone of the newly formed lordship. If that's the case, we can add it to the Shrine of the Book of Mulling and the Cavanagh Charter horn as expressions of Gaelic revival, at least in power, if not in status.